Alright, the sound is good and the video looks okay. I got two scenes I can play with until I can figure out how to get more cameras working. I'm limited to only two cameras, unfortunately. Maybe I should bring the chat in. Alright, I got this extra window that I can do. I just thought of, let me just see if I can bring that in. Nope. Nope, that's not gonna work. Oh wow. Okay. So okay, Zapton's on, so I guess that's showing a good connection. Alright, so I'm gonna talk about life in jail, and I kept a diary of this. So it's right here. You can see that it's the same that I took a picture of on the border stuff. Wait, yeah, the borders all along. As the dates I had recorded for when I was in jail, and uh, the first week that I was in jail, I did not have any pen or paper myself. Okay, so I had to borrow pen and paper, and there was only like out of 20 people, there was only like 2 or 3 that had a pen. I was using scrap paper. So I was not writing, I was not keeping much of a diary just because of that limitation. They limit so much. So I arrived at the jail right after being sentenced. I only had 2 seconds between the conviction and the sentence, and I should have not stepped a single foot in jail if I had been on top of my legal knowledge. Myself, also, my helpers too could have been there, could have helped, could have figured things out. They knew enough to go for an appeal, but there's so much in the process that they didn't learn it fast enough. I'm talking about helpers outside of Louisiana trying to figure out this rule book for Louisiana. So there's some things that could have been done differently. I should not be talking about life in jail right now, alright? Because it should not have happened. But once I got in there, I got stuck. And I got in there and I got stuck because there was no real contact to the outside world to figure things out. It's so much easier to figure things out outside of the jail. And it's a challenge to figure things out outside of the jail. It's pretty much it's impossible to figure things out inside the jail. So I was convicted, and they took my voice recorder from me. I guess I'm facing a what is that called? Contempt of court over my voice recorder. My car was left behind. I left my key with Robert. Did you have to assert dominance on day one? There were some almost fights that broke out, and there was some tension at times. I did form alliances with a couple of people, but people were getting switched in and out so often that the alliance really you really couldn't form an alliance. You didn't want to choose sides because the guards would come in and switch people out sometimes. So you had to get along with everybody, uh, or face the backlash of choosing sides. So I was arrested right in the courtroom, sentenced to 30 days, and marched to the city marshal's car. I forget the name of that marshal. He's yeah, one of the marshals. You're probably stronger than the average jail inmate. You eat well and lift regularly. Yeah, there's no lifting in jail. But yeah, I'm a little stronger, but I'm getting older, so that doesn't stay. The strength doesn't stick like in my younger years. I have to exercise. Yeah, I'm pretty much facing another charge with contempt of court. So that's whatever. It's something that's the judge mentions, but he didn't want to take care of it uh, at the moment. All right, he he would rather hold it over my head instead of just immediately take care of this. And you know, that's the types of games they play. These Perry Mason moments that they like to spring upon the people. So I was driven. What did they jail you for? Let's see. It's failure to ID. Failure to ID gets you 30 days in jail. State your name. I am here to testify to the name. Okay. Have you thought of switching to cardiovascular routines? Well, all right. All right. Angry Bigfoot. I guess if you want to get into exercise, let me show. I really like these. Oh, I tried to. I thought I was moving the camera by moving the computer. Here, let's take a break from this life in jail. I just want to talk about my yoga blocks because they've really been helping. My yoga blocks have been helping me quite a bit. Maybe I could put this here. I just do a quick demonstration. Let's see here. How does this look? So I'm bringing this a little closer. It's as high as it'll go. Is it clean enough? Alright, is it clean enough? Alright. Oh, should I stay on topic? Should I stay on... What should I do? I can't really... Okay, maybe... Alright. Maybe we'll stay on topic. Alright. Alright. So... Yeah, I got marched off to... Yeah, there's no yoga blocks in jail. I was doing some kind of yoga in jail, and maybe I'll demonstrate that later. What is this? Oh, I don't want that. Yeah, I was kind of doing some yoga in jail. All right, so marched off to the car in handcuffs, the city marshal's car, and yeah, I definitely I ran into at least one clear Bubba in jail for sure. And tell about your yoga blocks. Take a break. Okay, let's talk about my yoga blocks. All right. So I practice yoga in jail a little bit, but it's inspired by these yoga blocks. So I could use a little break. Maybe I could bring this. I can bring this down with me. So I'm gonna lay on the ground. Let's see what else shows. Put this chair out of the way. This is one of the few benefits I have of being able to lay on a floor. Like I never can do this living in my car. So I need a bigger vehicle for sure. So you can see I got yoga blocks, and I got 16 in my car now because they're so useful. They're multi-purpose. I use different yoga blocks for different exercises, but primarily though, maybe I could just lay down. Oh, is that gonna... Maybe I can bring this over. I might be able to keep the lapel thing on. It's just a matter of tilting this down more. Okay, and there we go. All right, and I can't quite see so well what's going on. My arm's in there. Okay, so I make room, and you can see my arms are propped up a little bit. So this just feels good. I actually wanted to lay down a little bit anyway. But I'll lay down, and my hands are pushing against these yoga blocks. So I'm actually trying to lift myself up, but I never can because I'm never strong enough to do that. And it's straight, and I also push with the back of my head into the floor as well. So I'm trying to lift myself up by my hands and my head off of the floor. Not too forcefully. I don't need to go crazy with it. Just enough to tighten up this back. And it feels nice. It really, after sitting, oh yeah, I feel like stretching. And this happens a lot too, where I get this need to squirm and stretch. Doing this, forcing as much as I want. So it's not, there's no weight attached. It's a body weight exercise just by propping up your hands. Okay, and that's one way to do it. And then to show, and then then moving the blocks to a higher point, I'll force my hands against the blocks again, trying to lift myself up off of the floor. And once again, I feel like stretching. It's a real good, like, if it prompts a back stretch. So I just sit here trying to bring my hands behind my head, which is impossible. And it works that those muscles that are ignored are generally ignored throughout the day, weeks and months. This isn't a type of exercise that I've ever engaged in, even in the gym so much. It's something I've ignored, and I've developed a rounded back as a result. But this straightens all that out. You can push as hard as you want, and it's nice. I feel it on the top of the shoulder, just trying to lift myself up with my hands, which is impossible. And this is a good height with blocks, but you can also change up. You can stack. All right, and then the next. These are 3 exercises that I like. They're yoga exercises for the old people to do at your leisure. And then with 4 blocks, now I'm like pulling myself up off of the floor. Could that be seen? Whoops. And they fall easily. They topple. But that's okay. Stable enough. This is partly why I got 16 blocks. It's just so I can lay them flat instead. But to be more mobile, 4 blocks is good. It's a little more unstable. And I just try to lift myself up. Just pull the sky towards me. And then I can go right into another stretch. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's a good stretch. When you sit too long, that really helps straighten things out. Okay, where was I? Why is it so dark? It's so dark in there. So why is it so dark on video? Yeah, that got dark. Maybe it just needs a reset, no? Well, I can probably, yeah, I can get more light from that. Yeah, I can build a house out of my blocks. There you go. that's the that's something that's an option. That's always an option. Yeah, I could have taken a nap there. All right, what is your problem? All these viewers are curious about the house, and you can't answer a simple question. Whose house is it? The cops want to know whose house is it. He can still, nope, I can't appeal. I did not have a jury trial, so I can't appeal. Good stretch to do in the Lowe's parking lot. Yeah, that's the problem with living in my car is I don't have enough spots to lay down. It's real frustrating. House is hideouts from the police. Yeah, you don't need to explain that to them. These people who ask know. We're paying all this money. We demand to know what your blood type is. We demand a urine test every day. Where's my water bottle? How did I lose it? Where? How did I lose my water bottle? Does anybody see my water bottle? Hey, anybody see it? Where's my water bottle? How do I have it and then it just disappears? I was putting it on my left side. Did I knock it over? How do I lose that? Maybe I need to turn the light on. Maybe I'm just not able to see quite so well. I just had a water bottle and I didn't take it. Oh, I put it in the fridge. That's right. Just a second, let me take this off. I was cooling it down. There it is. Alright. There it is. Okay. Okay, found the water bottle. I forgot that I put it in the that refrigerator. I don't normally have a refrigerator to use. And then when I do, I just don't realize, I forget that I had that option. I guess I could turn the light on. The light is off, but all right. So we're talking about life in jail, and I only filled out one side of this page. The whole page on one side is filled out, and then I got released. I mainly recorded moments that stood out the most, not really the boring stuff. Who else would like to know where I'm at? I'm glad you can stretch out at least. My back gets so stiff when I spend too much time in the car. Yeah, you really need a place to lay down and use your yoga blocks. When it rains, rain limits places I can use them. It's frustrating. Did you have a big pot of grass tea when you got out? Yeah, it's too bad I got to go to parks and I got to go outside of cities mostly to find good grass, and I'm pretty much stuck needing more Wi-Fi than ever to fight this charge. So I'm not really looking for natural healing, natural like um, let's say natural resources. I'm not looking for natural resources to enjoy so much these days. I'm focused on legal paperwork and dealing with this potential retrial, dealing with this writ. Maybe the house is on Travis Street, just like his lawyer. I'm here. Yeah, my lawyer's helping out in several ways. I'm here in Denham Springs. Okay. What, can I find that on the map? Okay. Well, let's see. Let's see if Denham Springs is something that's found on the map. All right. I'm going to open up. I'll do it on this channel or this scene. Let's see. We got that and then that. All right. I'm curious, so I'm gonna look. Denham Spring. Hey, where's my? Oh, because it's too low? Where's my option to... Okay, to get layers. Alright. So I type in Denham Springs. Oh, that's in Louisiana, huh? That's cool. I've never heard of it. I haven't really explored the state too much. I traveled up and down the left side. That's still in Louisiana? You're way over on the other side. Baton Rouge. Yeah, that's going south from me, I think. I want to go north. Alexandria. Yeah, it's a little bit more vegetation over there. Okay, it's a subdivision of Baton Rouge, I see. Okay. Yeah, I bet that's populated. Whoops, what did I just erase? I thought I erased the map. Oh man, I got rid of my backgrounds. Look at that. You're so tricky. Alright, we want image and browse. Let's see, it's in the desktop and I see it there. Oh, here's, how about this one? Oh man, every time I put it up I gotta shrink it down too. Every time I put it up. Let's see, I better put it in the center. Spread it out, but it's not gonna spread out the way I want. Nope, still want more. Alright. Okay. So, yeah, I'm talking about life in jail. When do they think we start traveling? When do think we start traveling again? Huh, when do we start traveling? I want to help you out with paperwork. Oh, sure. Truth be told as a cop. Okay, guys? Truth be told, audits as a cop. Let's see, Denham City. Yeah, it's a big. This person's living in a big city. Yeah, these cops are tyrants here. I'm trying to get auditors together. I've got a couple that I'm working with. Well, okay, let me show something that I found that was just sent to me, sent to a lot of people about Louisiana, and it's an image. Oh, what the heck? Okay, it's an image, and okay, and I want to save it, and I want to save it. Save that way. Where is that saving? Oh, you're not putting it on my... Oh, man. Okay, where did it save then? I have no idea. I just downloaded... maybe... Okay, I think it's in downloads. Okay. Let me bring up an image that's... okay, image... I could also do an image slideshow. Okay, we do images. It's going to be in the downloads. Downloads. Okay, I guess I saved it twice. And this is Louisiana. Oh, the wrong picture. Alright. This is Louisiana. So, what are people saying? What do you oh, start traveling again? Okay. Um, did you keep your car? Yep. How was the yogurt? Did I mention yogurt? Yeah, man, I had some food that went bad in the time I was in jail, because the city judge only gave me 2 seconds between the um, conviction and sentencing. Uh, I mentioned that I was going to appeal after sentencing, but it was too late. Um, I said that I was going to appeal after sentencing, which means nothing to him. He was like, "Gotcha, buddy. You should have said it after when you had those 2 seconds after conviction that you're going to appeal." That's why he was in such a rush to go to conviction. Because when I say I'm going to appeal after the conviction, it's like, well, whatever. You're off to jail. Have fun trying to do it in jail. But what if I said I'm going to appeal after the conviction? I always wonder, would that have stopped the sentencing? I mean, I'm not exactly sure. They probably would have just still gone through with the sentencing, but what do I know? I don't. This is just all a bull rush. So yeah, the yogurt. I have ants. I do have ants in my car. So I need to clean it out fully. I've slept in it a couple of nights. There's no mice, but there's definitely bugs I need to take care of. So that's something. So life in jail. I would still be in if I wasn't let out early, because it's the 7th that I was scheduled, or it might have been the 8th, 7th or 8th, is scheduled to leave after fulfilling this city judge's sentence. So yeah, I was taken there, driven to the jail, and yeah, it was really sneaky. And yeah, just strip searched and then given the lice spray. But it was strange. This guard didn't seem to care about what he was doing. He was very sloppy in his actions. He didn't look like he searched my shoes very thoroughly, and he only sprayed my chest and my back for lice spray. And I mean, come on, lice is usually found in the hair, and he didn't spray my head. I found that interesting. Don't appeal? Well, I can't appeal because I didn't have a jury trial. The deck is stacked, the table is tilted. So, yeah, like you could smuggle things into that jail. If you could smuggle things in your shoes because they let you bring in your shoes. Like like these. Oh, well, maybe not these shoes so much. Kind of these shoes. But if you're good at sewing, or you know somebody who's good at sewing, all they do, all they do is just kind of be like, here, let me go to scene 2. All right. All they do is just kind of, whatever. Okay, maybe shake it a little bit. That's it. That's it. That's good. All right. Maybe they feel the weight too. They'll feel the weight of your shoe. I mean, but these shoes you bring into the jail with you, and you could smuggle things in your shoes. All right. If you're if you if you're like constantly being put in jail, you could prepare for it a little bit better with your shoes. I mean, you can't bring super heavy things in, but you could certainly smuggle things in. I mean, look at these shoes. They're pretty thick. I got big shoes anyway compared to. See, I could smuggle. I could smuggle more things in my shoes than other people because my feet are bigger. So I have more room to smuggle larger things. But if you knew how to sew, you could cut along, or you could cut inside and make little compartments in your shoe that they don't really look too closely at your shoes. Make little compartments in the side of your shoe and slip things in. Maybe um, slip. I had the biggest feet on the block. I was called. They were picking on me, calling me Bigfoot in jail. But yeah, you could smuggle a shoe bomb in. He didn't find the shoe bomb. What would you smuggle in your shoes into jail? What would be helpful for me? I could use a sewing needle. I mentioned sewing, but I picked my teeth with a sewing needle, and I would just be able to stick a sewing needle in my shoes in preparation, and they wouldn't see it. They just kind of give a loose look at your shoes, and you're good to go. People could smuggle drugs in their shoes. I mean, you don't just put them in. You gotta like build compartments in your shoes, and you don't want to have too big of a shoe, I think, because that would maybe look a little too suspicious. Uh, like a knee-high boot. What if you had a knee-high boot? The guards would probably make you switch out to a more a shoe that's more for that jail owns, or yeah, a shoe that the jail owns. Um, that's not a car. How's a car? And did you rent a room to live there? No, this place is. I could be kicked out at any minute out of this place. They're going to tear your shoes apart in jail. No, they don't suspect a thing in jail. The people smoke so much. Oh my God, the 40-man rooms, the 40-man dorm. People smoke like 5 times a day. They smoke. They tear off um, like book paper and just I don't know. I think they use the e-cigarettes and soak the juice of the e-cigarette into the paper and then smoke that or something. They start their fires with the microwave. They start their fires with the microwave or the remote control batteries. They they're kind of clever. And how do they need like metal to do that though, but I think they're using like wrapping paper that's metal, like gum wrapping paper or something, or maybe a stapler. I don't know, a staple. So, and my car went to impound. Put a shoe within a shoe. Well, yeah, I suppose I do have rubber. Well, I bought rubber coverings for my shoes, but they're way too small. They fit my feet directly, but not shoes. I'm not planning on staying in long enough to need to smuggle anything in. Well, you'll see how boring it can get within a matter of hours. You may want to have something to play with. I don't know what you'd smuggle in exactly. Just people may smuggle in some drugs just to. And I think I smelt marijuana one night. People are smuggling things in. Um, yeah, nobody was taking part in making prison hooch. There's some creative things being done in there to disorient themselves. People were doing to disorient themselves. I was offered drugs uh, one day by Lou Dog to calm me down. He was I pace a lot, and he was like, "Here, I got something to calm you down." And I told him that I love being sober, so that was the end of that. But I mean, there's a nurse that comes in and gives people medication or whatever. So people are acquiring like drugs in some way. Yeah, all all the other jails I've been to have provided shoes, but not in Louisiana. Louisiana, you have to use your own shoes. So I've been in twice now, and I'm learning that I could smuggle things in. But both times I've been put in jail twice have been surprises. Just like a basic necessary thing, like having your credit card numbers or some phone numbers to call. You could smuggle that information. I don't know how. You probably don't want to do paper. Something that's long lasting. You could cut a little slit in your shoe and slip your credit card number and a phone number, some phone numbers in there, and then you'll have them. I was thinking originally tattooing, but nah, that's a little excessive, huh? Just tattooing your credit card numbers and phone numbers on your body, but you could smuggle that in your shoes. And credit card numbers are helpful for both commissary purchases and possibly paying the bondsman. But it sounds like the bondsman only accept cash. So, and there's no ATMs at the jail, so I don't know how to deal with that. You need somebody, you could give somebody on the outside your credit card numbers, and you'd have to do that over the phone, and the guards would hear that. But you'd have to do that, and then they could run to the ATM for you. If you had a phone number of a local person, you could call them and then give them your credit card number and PIN number. They could go to an ATM, get cash, and then pay for your bail. It depends on the situation. So a file for the bars. I've never been in a jail that has bars. So yeah, I was taken into jail, and I'm learning that I could smuggle in a barcode or microchip. Yeah, I could. You could maybe even a pen, just a pen. Smuggling in a pen in your shoes would be a real big benefit to have a pen. I got these flex pens. Okay, I got a couple of them. They're called flex pens because you can't stab anybody with them. But it was a week. I was in jail for a week before I was able to get a flex pen. It took so long to be able to get around to writing. And yeah, I think I mentioned somewhere that I had to beg for a pen. I had to beg for one of the pens. I must have mentioned it somewhere. Oh, we'll read this diary. This is my one-page diary in jail, but it's not a daily diary. Yeah, I don't remember anybody's phone number. You need to know phone numbers, but you're limited to 10 phone numbers, so they better be good numbers. Yeah, don't lose your own phone number. Let's see. All right, so I arrived on the 11th. Tiny Iowa that had bars. It only held about 10 people. It had bars? Huh. Throw some salt on those bars. Be a good inmate and help the next guy by throwing salt on all things that are metal in the jail. Help out the next guy. You know, I start working towards rusting the jail down. Every salt pack by salt pack. So I arrived on the 11th. In the evening time, I was given supper. I made it just in time for supper time on the 11th, about 4 p.m., a little after 4 p.m. And Chevy, you sent me paper and stamps. You know, Robert also said that he sent me stuff. I did not see anything. All right. So if that is true, I received nothing. The guards kept it. Either it's being returned back to you, or the guards kept it. Okay. You're a second person who has told me that you sent something and I did not receive it. I was able to make connections on the phone and electronically, but that was it. Paper and stamps, huh? Yeah, the guards give paper and stamps once a week. 2 envelopes and 5 pieces of paper. That's once a week if your account stays 0. Yeah, you salt. There you go. Good job, Aaron. Way to be thinking. Think about the future of the jail. You want to degrade the conditions of the jail. That was my revenge, is trying to degrade the conditions by trying to help the rust out. Chevy did what? Save your salt packs from McDonald's. Yeah, and then throw them on a police station. If you see any rust spots in a police station, make sure to throw salt on those. Help out that rust. That's about the best. That's the best part. That's the best thing you could do to help out a police station is throw salt on their rust spots. So when I arrived on the 11th, I was given some supper, and it was chicken, which wasn't too bad. It's only like once a week that chicken is given, and as soon as I walked in, Lou Dog had the first words to say to me, and that were, "Give me your chicken." He told me to just. He asked me if I wanted to give him my chicken or whatever, and I told him I have to eat. But I mean, this guy was like, he's been in 2 years, and I spent a lot of time with him. He's an instigator. You're either a white boy. He doesn't mention black dude. He only mentions white boys. If you're a white boy, you're called a white boy. But if you're not white, then you're just a regular person to him, because he sees more black people than white people. And so that's his manner of talking, and his culture, the culture that he's used to. Any regrets about what? About the legal stuff? Yeah, I regret not learning the law fast enough, but it was all rushed on me. Liked your video host supporting you? I have a supporting video host? Like OBS? So on the 11th, I got my supper. I was in the 24-bed room. It's called L2, and it was busy. It was probably 20 people. The whole time I was there, it maintained an average of 20 people in this 24-bed, like a temporary type of dorm room. And yeah, it was a little annoying. I never could. I only maybe got, well, one day I got a couple of hours to use the TV remote, switch channels as I pleased, but never again. Never touched the remote again. And one day I got to touch the remote for a couple hours, and then that was it. That pretty much, there's a certain group of people who maintain full control of the TV, and all I could do is just watch what they wanted to watch, which was Martin Lawrence or Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Those are 2 of the most popular TV shows in this jail cell. Tell me where he is. Yeah, where's Travis? Let's figure that out. Travis is still in the States. I have to get permission to leave the States, because I question, how can I post police interactions outside the States? I'll lose my $1,500 bail bond, so I don't want to do that. That's a lot of money. As soon as I'm discovered to be outside of the States, that's a loss of the bail bonds agreements. I need to get permission from the city courts to leave the state. Can anybody figure out how to get that permission? the best ideas have been get a medical appointment in another state and say that you need to have return visits. I don't really think that's great. I think that's kind of, I'm not enthused about that idea. Let's see. So on that day I was in, that first day I arrived in jail, somebody tried to hang themselves. It was like they were using a shoestring, and they were all upset. I mean, are you at a house, apartment, or hotel? They used a shoestring, and they wanted to hang themselves. They're trying to like tie the other end to a ceiling vent, and then put it around their neck and jump off the top bunk of the bunk beds. But people talked them down. They're like telling him it's not worth it and all this. He was in the cell for a few hours, and just had this angry look about him. Just a young guy, maybe mid-20s, white guy, and he was really upset. He would cry and then look angry. Corrupt collection of idiots barely qualified to be estates. A pig state. Statism is a mental illness the victims suffer from. Statism. I hear that word. I haven't really looked into it. So he tried to hang himself. Did I shower? Yeah, I had to shower. Wow. There was so much nastiness in that cell. My skin would get like bad smells. So showering was necessary. But I would shower like 2 days in a row, and my hands would start hurting because the soap was so drying. The soap would take all the oils off my hands. I would just try to focus on the important parts, not just soap my entire self down. Some people would soap themselves completely down, and it's like, it dries my hands out too much, let alone trying to clean everything for no good reason either. There's some parts of the body are more important to clean than others. So yeah, the man who tried to hang himself, he did it twice. People were kind of laughing at him. Some people are saying, encouraging him to do it. You know, who cares? Just, you know, if you want to do it, do it. Some people are talking about the last time they've seen a dead body. There was a mix of reactions to this guy who was trying to hang himself. Where are you staying? I know you said it's a secret, but is it someone's house or what? Good afternoon from Gainesville, Florida, down in the swamp. Yeah, we're both in the swamps. And bodies get found in the swamps. Could you buy stuff from a commissary? I only bought a pen. The timing was not good. It took me a long time to learn about the commissary, and then when I was close to leaving, I just didn't want to buy anything because that means I'd have to carry more stuff out of the jail. Why did he go to jail again? It was failure to ID. The practice or doctrine of giving a centralized government. Okay, alright. Let's see. Look how this system treats them. They have been taught that life is meaningless. Yeah, it's pretty cruel how some inmates treat each other. How the guards treat the inmates. The guards treat the inmates terribly. The inmates treat each other terribly. It just rolls down the hill like kicking the smaller object. So this guy that tried to hang himself, yeah, I failed to give my name in 3 seconds. I failed to declare that I want a retrial in 3 seconds. There's so much that was bull rushed from the police to the city judge that it can make your head spin, and for it to all to be legitimate it'll be a very revealing um, state of the government. If the Third Circuit Court of Appeals approves of all their activity, of all this bull rushing, it'll really be an eye opener for me. And it sounds like they're likely to do that. They're likely to support this bull rushing from the city. Do the people approve of it? I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe people like to just be really hard on each other. I noticed that in jail. I talked about failure to ID in the jail, and some inmates are like, yeah, you have to give ID on the spot. And you also, when you answer the door, when the cops are knocking, as soon as you open your door, you give up all your Fourth Amendment rights too. And they're like, but I mean, they were misinformed about a lot of things as well. Lift weights in there. What weights? They don't keep weights in the jails. I don't know what any jails anymore. I don't know of any jails at all that keep weights. I'm confused about if you're or not allowed to leave states. If not, why? Yeah, why am I not allowed to leave the state? I'd like to know. It's just simply a matter of me having in the agreement. It's a matter of me having to give permission, or having to get permission from a court. It didn't say the trial court. It said I had to get permission from a court to leave the state. Sounds like I could ask any judge and then just get that in writing or something. Any judge. But why do I need to stay in the state? Have they done some research on that? Have they found something? I mean, and when you listen to the arguments that prosecutors make, there's really not a lot of research. It doesn't sound like there's a lot of research behind their arguments. They just kind of argue things that seem to make sense to them at the time. That, I mean, the only reason that it makes sense to them at the time is because it's a counter, and it can be bizarre. You could hear some bizarre counters to your argument. You say, like I say, I should be allowed bail. I should be allowed, or wait, no, I am indigent and I don't make money, and then I hear the counter argument. In the spirit of giving a counter argument, the prosecutor will just say, no, he makes enough money. You know, you're still, look at you, you're still living and breathing, so clearly you're making enough money to maintain a healthy life. Clearly, it's just it's in. It seems like the arguments that are made are more in the courts, are more in the spirit of countering you rather than actually being sensical. Nonsensical countering is more important to the prosecutor than sensical arguments. Sensical, thoughtful arguments. Yeah, and there's other cities out there that want to violate my rights. I don't know which ones they are. It's once again, it's the Perry Mason moments of traveling. You just get surprised. You get surprised by the city, then you get surprised by their legal system. Each more surprising than the next. And it's just, how do you prepare for those surprises? Even my own lawyer seemed to have gotten a little surprised on the nonsensical argument that the prosecutor made about GoFundMe being income. Individualism, what is that? Rather than collectivism. Yeah, you need we need collectivism to be able to fight back against the government's tyranny. Individualism does not defeat tyranny. It never has, never will. Because the tyranny is not individualistic itself. You're gonna take on an army by yourself. The theory and practice of the ownership of land and the means of production by the people or the states. The Russian Revolution. They don't want you to get more help. Of course not. Yeah, throwing a person in jail and then making arguments that he had 3 weeks. I had 3 weeks to file for a new trial. But in those 3 weeks, I was in jail. but the prosecutor had made no mention of jail because that doesn't work for his argument. So what is your official status? Did you not just serve out your sentence? Nope, I got 5 days. 5 days left. What were you charged with? They had to let me out though. They had to let me out after 24 days. The calls won't stop until a charges against Travis Hines are dropped. Well, uh, it's been a conviction. I'm convicted now, so there's no active charges. The case is not closed until everything, all the elements have been met. So even after a conviction, all right, if it was an acquittal, case closed. But as a conviction, then the case can't be closed until the punishment has been fulfilled. So it could get long and drawn out. And if I'm one of the people, if I'm a type that doesn't pay the $411, doesn't just ignores that, then the case will remain open, but then it'll be a matter of active or inactive status. You'll have case closed, case open, and then in the case open you have active and inactive. And it can go into an inactive status, but I mean your name will still be on the police radar. When next time they stop you, your name will pop up. Will you have to still appear in court again? I don't know. I'm not sure if I need to still appear in court. It doesn't sound like it, because appeals courts certainly are not. The only court I think I would need to reappear at is a retrial. And I mean, I'm requesting another judge besides the city judge here, and I would have to appear for that. That's the only hearing that I believe I have to appear for. My lawyer could appear for everything else in my place. So that's that one thing, that retrial. So once we get the retrial decided, and it'll be a while for that because we're still waiting on documents. Like this clerk at the city court is slowly typing her transcriptions of all the hearings and the trials. And right now she might not be doing anything because apparently it sounds like she's waiting on a payment. I don't know, but I mean, I think somebody paid upfront $1,500 for the trial transcript. Imagine that. That's probably the most money this city court has made in a long time. They're probably dancing like a gold digger's dance, like they've just discovered gold here with this this mockery of a trial, this kangaroo court that they set up. They finally struck gold with their kangaroo court here by being able to make so much money off of transcripts, and they refuse to advance their technological status. They only work with paper. They'll only mail paper. They can't even just they can't mail paper and send a PDF. They can't even send a PDF, and their argument is they don't know how to authenticate a PDF. So if anybody knows how to authenticate PDFs, the Natchitoches City Court could use some instructions on how that's done, because they have not even figured that out. Did you ask any witness questions? And even Pig Trader would like people to know that the Natchitoches City Court needs some instructions on how to electronically file documents. Alright, just go down by the river banks and mingle. The folks will help you trust me. Okay, help you trust me. You're looking for trust? Did you lose your virginity? I had my Bubba moments. There was definitely at least one Bubba. in this jail cell. Let's see. Hey friend, we need to live stream the accounting on the GoFundMe before the pitchfork wielding trolls burn down my mom's house and, more importantly, her basement. Yeah, we're desperate for money for the lawyer. He's threatening. He might be threatening to drop. He might be threatening to drop out. So because of a lack of payments. So that's a little concern. And then what do? I'll be my worst the worst situation would be I'd have to file everything myself. I'd have to attend all the hearings myself, and then yeah, with the Court of Appeals, and then I'd have to make oral arguments in front of the Court of Appeals as well, because we made an agreement, and I put that on the other channel, that I pay upfront $15,000, and then he'll take it up to the Supreme Court, but that doesn't even include cost of documents. And, so there's that. Because the cost of documents varies from city to city. Some cities have smarter people who figured out how to electronically file documents and can save money on the court legal process. This is in Natchitoches. It's probably one of the most expensive. They're one of the most tyrannical enforcers of culture, not law. They're not enforcing law here. They're enforcing culture, and one of the most expensive to get documents from, because this is an active. They're actively protesting an upgrade in their technological functioning. I think they're protesting a lot. I mean, these are people who where the cops say they don't have to give their first name. I don't have to give you my first name. Just Officer Winters is good enough for you. Good enough for you and you and you and you. You only need to call me Officer Winters. Never trust the government, they lie. How's your car? Yeah, I just drove to a grocery store. It feels okay. If I'm confident I could make it to Wisconsin, okay? I would say that. I'm confident I can make it far up north on a big drive. I could just see myself with my hair blowing in the wind as I'm driving north to cooler temperatures. All right. That's I imagine doing that, and I have to work towards being able to do that, and I need some ideas on how to um, ask to leave the states. 'Cause I'm asking the city judge first, all right, and then I think I could go over his head ask other judges, because it doesn't say I'm limited to the trial court. It says I have to ask the court. And even though city courts is in the upper right hand corner as the court of jurisdiction, there's other courts that supervise the city courts that can overrule the city courts. So even upon the city court judge's this decision, I could appeal that. I can appeal a request. I'm sure I can appeal a request to leave the states. Okay, I'm sure of it, because district judges also make that decision. And I don't know. Would I need to go to the Third Circuit courts to ask to leave the state, to appeal a decision by the city court to leave the states? All right. It'll be interesting. They can only this Third Circuit Court of Appeals can only work with legal arguments that are presented at trial. So we're talking about trial stuff. So I don't know. Maybe I'd have to go to the district courts and find another judge. Sipping the fermentation. Loser Energy got recently moved on from the Telegraph. Yeah, they're they're still using old resources, old that maybe they consider them more reliable, because that's what their daddies did and their daddies did. Let's see. All right, so where was I? The guy was hanging himself. He wasn't very successful at it, but he definitely got everybody's attention. Jokes and a little pity. I felt a little pity towards the guy, but he after a couple hours, he moved beds because he was trying to hang himself on one bed, so he moved beds, and that was voluntary. And then he moved. Oh yeah, thank you, Chad Oliver, for the $20. That's generous of you. I appreciate it. It's much needed. Um, I'm desperate for justice and money right now. Let's see. And so he got moved out of the cell, and I even thought, people thought, even the guy who's been there 2 years, Lou Dog, thought that he was bailing out. This guy that tried to hang himself. They're like joking about how he was trying to hang himself, and then he bailed out a couple hours later. Like he could have killed himself, and then gotten the bail approved, and it would have been for no purpose, no good ends. Let's see, what do we got, Matt? This is all about fail to ID. That's right. I'm paying $15,000 now to fight a conviction on failure to ID, and it's a cost that is going up. And I've never had to do this. I've never had a fight like this over my ID before. 15,000, more than I've made last year. Okay, I'm paying my lawyer more than I made last year. All right, and they're calling, and the prosecutor Cloyd Benjamin is calling that income. And if I report that as income, uh, the IRS will be wondering what's happening with me. They'd be like, wow, this guy this guy earned a one lump sum of 15,000. If it reaches 15,000, it's quite a bit short of 15,000. But if that's more than I made last year. It's the most I made in a long time. And we're talking not just last year, really. More than I made in the last 10 years, at least. And it's a one lump sum to my lawyer. All right. I've been poor most of my life, and the lawyer knows this. But I mean, yeah, he's relying on that GoFundMe. ACLU would have taken this case before it became corrupt, and prioritized the transsexuals, and now they got new legal issues coming up with this abortion. So you get pregnant, and on the first day you could be charged with murder if you lose your egg. If the woman loses her egg, and she could be charged with murder. And what? How far can they push this? I mean, they could make masturbation illegal. All right. Jake is delusional. Should Jake be silenced for being 15,000 for a lawyer who says that'll fund your case through appeals and to Supreme Court? Yeah, it's a lump sum just on hourly wage only. This is let's see what Turner lawyer Phil, he calculated his hourly wage that he expected it to cost, and I made a video of that, just showing the contract, and I would point your attention to the pinned comment on that video. I pinned a comment that was very enlightening to me, pretty much saying that the cost can be the estimates generally can be too low, and you should expect it to be more than what's it could be, and it'll be a surprise. The lawyer wants to sell his services, so he's going to maybe underestimates what it really costs, and then you find out later how much that it costs more. All right. Let's see. Now you're laundering money through an attorney. Yep. That's right. You caught me. FBI would prosecute cops and judge if they worked for the people. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Because the judge and cops would face the wrath of the city officials, whom they're probably more scared of than some regular community, some regular citizen who's not really doing much but watching TV all day or sitting on the porch all day. They're more fearful of the highly active in government individuals who can do the most damage. Find better blogs to read. Let's see. States now write laws. You think New York is going to arrest? Yeah, New York's had some high standards in the late 90s or late 80s. New York changed their criminal reputation around by the late 80s with Rudy Giuliani, and I'd have to wonder, like, how tough was it to live in New York when they made the change in the law enforcement. They're using a ComStats computer a computer that relied on statistics to do law enforcement. I don't think Natchitoches is using ComStats. I don't think they're using a computer to rely on for their criminal and for police enforcement. I don't think they're doing that. They've lost their way. They've lost their they've gotten off the mission or something. They don't know what they're doing in a lot of ways. Philip Adams offered $15,000. I asked what if early resolution in contracts. That's answered $350 an hour. He's charging $350 an hour? Wow, that's a lot. Who's being accused of money laundering, Travis or Roberts? And it's through the attorney. We're both signed on the contract. $350 an hour is pretty steep. Yeah, I'll say. You don't hear of those type of wages at McDonald's. Hey everyone, good to see all. Hey Travis, good to see free again, buddy. Sorry you've had to endure this nonsensical BS. Yeah, it just continues. You should try to get some of the small news channels on YouTube to get involved. Well, we got Natchitoches Parish Times, who put out a couple articles for me, but they were pretty much they were not good news stories. All right, they were not these. You don't want to just ask any news outlets to write a story about you, because they do have their biases. All right, and even this local newspaper does not like First Amendment. They call me a First Amendment auditor. They don't like First Amendment auditors, and we're talking about a news company. I don't know how big they are, Natchitoches Parish Journal, but they're practicing their First Amendment rights with their websites, but they use their First Amendment rights to bash people who are exercising their own First Amendment liberties. This entire thing is crazy, but real normal in Louisiana. Yeah. Yeah, I'm learning that's the norm, to get people trapped with their Perry Mason moments, from the police to the judge, the city judge. I don't know about district, and yeah, to have to be stuck here. Pretty much, they put me in a quicksand. They put me in quicksand here, and they've given me dental floss to try to climb out of. This story has been featured on a couple of much larger channels. Mainstream won't touch it for fear of losing access. There's plenty of large channels in the community that would do a full report. But how are their biases? You want to know who the reporter is. Who it is as um, a lot of who the reporter is has a lot of something about uh, they have their own personalities. They put their own personalities into the story. Yes, if you have any particular channels, please comment here. I have been alerting the Cop Watcher channels. Somebody's idea is good. James Freeman. Well, James Freeman tried to get me thrown back in jail. I don't know about that guy. Let's see. So the guy who was trying to hang himself on my first day in jail with a shoelace, I called him the Shoelace Kid, because he was moved out and he didn't get taken home. He moved out to another cell, and immediately someone else came in to the cell block, and apparently these two guys knew each other. They couldn't just move the other guy into another cell block directly. They had to move the the shoestring kid out and then bring the other guy in. And there's only, for the temporary dorms, from what I understand, there's L1 and there's L2. And yep, James Freeman, he called the cops. He did it on video too. He wanted to help the cops get me thrown back in jail for contempt of cop. So this other guy I talked to that showed up in the cell block, um, yeah, James Freeman tried to get me thrown back in jail by calling the cops, offering to help, and you could hear the cops being giddy about receiving help, just like the prosecutor. The cops too, they love getting help to convict somebody. All right, you're offering evidence to assist in prosecution. Prosecutors and cops love assistance in prosecution, but if you call them with counter arguments, they shut down and they give excuses. If you're helping them, they have no excuses. So James called and was being ridiculous, assuming they had 20 IQ. But he never told them he thought they had 20 IQ. James overestimated their intelligence and they had no idea he was joking. Well, the prosecutor was not joking. I ended up in jail on these types of imaginations. I pretty much I got I got convicted. I got convicted on similar arguments that James Freeman made to the cops. We're talking about contempt of cop issues. Who records in a library? Who asks for the cops' names? Who who doesn't give their ID within 3 seconds of asking? All right, these are issues that even the judge, the city judge, brought up in my conviction, and this is along the lines of what James Freeman has argued, has presented in his video when he called the cops. They love these low-hanging fruits, and they'll use them in the courtroom. Okay, so you got to be aware of that. Other states, other lawyers may joke about grabbing the low-hanging fruit and how it's so petty and unethical and can be overturned by bigger courts because they're generally non-issues in larger courts, but in the city court in Natchitoches, they'll eat that low-hanging fruit. They'll pick it off the ground. They'll dig a little bit if it's buried. They don't care because they got it right now. They got a city judge who totally supports them. This city judge has not been slapped down by any higher courts ever. I don't think this city judge has ever been overturned. Okay, and that's why they're able to continue um, pushing our civil rights, because it's just not something they're scared of, not something they've had an issue with in the past. Yeah, don't take that seriously, for goodness sakes. That's a whole tongue-in-cheek. Well, was the prosecutor being tongue-in-cheek when he made all his arguments about banging on a table and watching porn and jiggling the door handles? All of that was used in my conviction. All right, that's pretty much, and it's pretty much contempt of cop issues, the same stuff that James Freeman used. All right, they do that in courts. All right, they go that low. Uh, let's see. I'd be happy to exchange IDs with you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Somebody who's willing to exchange IDs. I appreciate that. Words have power. So does banging on tables have power too, especially when you're able to knock a pen onto the floor because you bang the table so loud. Just bribe the lawyer. Yeah, this is not too far off from the Mexican legal system. Was the Mexican is the Mexican Mexican judicial system under Napoleonic control too? Did they ever have slave laws? Because I mean, this is pushing towards bribery. It's pushing towards a lot of corruption in different ways. I mean, it's going to be not obvious ways though. They're trying to be sneaky about it. But a lot of times the best corruption happens in broad daylight under official duties. Let's see, Travis, remember when Cloyd and Rosalind were whispering with each other during her trial testimony? It was during the video, I think. They were talking about something. They couldn't share their conversation with the judge. The judge didn't care. Maybe he didn't want to hear. He couldn't share that conversation with me. During. It wasn't before the what do you call it, before the interview, before the witness interview. It was during. Was it during my questioning of her too? I forget. They stopped to whisper to each other. Where are you? We are you? No, Travis? Question marks. When you win this case, can't you make them pay their legal fees? I wonder. It's like, geez, I'm gonna be homeless after this. After all I pay for the lawyer, I'm gonna end up homeless. And is there any way to recompensate? I don't even know if this is no guarantee that I can get this guilty verdict overturned, or at least get some other judge's insights into the legal issues involved. He didn't. Yeah, the judge, pig trader. The judge smiled and turned his back to them, and then the judge smiled when I objected to them talking to each other. He gave a smile and let it continue. Cinco de Mayo was a battle against France. Yeah, so yeah, I curse Napoleon for creating Louisiana. Napoleon is a black mark in our history books because of Louisiana. You said something about porn being used against you in court. Yeah, I said that a few times. Show your support. Make sure you like and subscribe. Oh, there's Denise. She got banned accidentally, I guess, by someone. I forget her name for some reason. Did your lawyer contest, or did the contest the jiggling handles or the porn? Did my lawyer contest? No, yeah, and the motions. I hope to show some motions coming up. I have motions I haven't um, talked about on video yet. This is a video to talk about being in jail. Let's see, sarcasm or not, it depends on who's listening. Yeah, and how they're listening, what they hear, who's listening and what they hear. Delete Laws wants to speak with you. He's all the way in Ohio. He's in a different legal jurisdiction. I don't think we can really talk much. But I mean, I would introduce Delete Laws to my email group. I got a concentrated email group from my larger email group. I would introduce him to that group and see how the conversation goes. Cloyd and Parker were whispering with each other. Travis objected. Judge turned his back. Judge smiled and turned his back. How much do you lack for the $15,000 needed for Shreveport attorney? I don't know. What is it? Let's take a look. It's like somebody said, didn't they? Somebody just said right above somewhere, didn't they? Or not? Okay. I thought I saw it's still about, okay, let's just say it's still about 12,000. So we're off a couple of thousand, and then there's also added expenses which are in the contract. It's not straight 15,000. I think 15,000 is just hourly wage, and then the extra, the transcripts. There's a 15, there's a $1,500 transcript of the trial. So that would not be a part of the $15,000 that is in the contract. That would be an extra expense. And I don't think all cities have these types of expenses. I think some cities are more electronically advanced, and they'll email you a PDF, and you can print out the PDF at your own cost. But not in Natchitoches. They don't have that type of technology advancement, so they do everything by paper. Did you cross-examine police? Yeah, I pretty much cross-examined all of them, but barely got into favors, because lay the foundation was something that I don't know, I was tired and I couldn't wrap my head around it. But now looking back, I'm like, I would have just gone to the beginning again, lay the foundation. Are you a cop? Were you here at this time? Yeah, that's how you lay the foundation. It's simple. But I never come across that challenge. Chili was just in Texas. Wow, he's not staying in Ohio. All right. I guess he has no arrest warrant, or he has no bail. 85 minutes ago, darn it. All live, hello comrades. Yeah, I've been on for a little while. We're at 12,400. Okay. So what is that? 13,4, 14,4. So 2,600 to reach the 15,000. But that's not even really the goal. It's not 15,000. 15,000 is the contract. And yeah, 18,700. Just to estimate, to factor in the extra costs on top of the 15,000. And it's not even, it's like you think you're putting this money towards something that's gonna have a good outcome, and it may not. You might be spending all this money for nothing. For what? A learning experience, pretty much. Delete Laws will be in jail soon. Sounds like Jay is a little bit of a bootlicker. We all hope the best for you. I just donated some to your GoFundMe. Oh, thank you, Crown VR. I appreciate it. Every little bit helps. It's been in a trickle mode towards the end here, which, I mean, that's comes to be expected. You know, there's some donations. There's some GoFundMe. Let's say uh, I don't know, movements. GoFundMe movements. There's some GoFundMe movements that just explode past their goal. They have a goal of, I don't know, 20,000, and they get $50,000. And it's just, but there's so many GoFundMe's out there. What's the more what's important to you? You got to ask yourself, what kind of change is most important to me? All right, what kind of um, whatever, what's most important to me? And yeah, I lost my mouse cursor. Help fight this injustice. Okay, pig trader. Two big blunders by owl sized. Travis couldn't use the foundation set earlier because it belonged to the prosecutor. Yeah, I think the prosecutor probably he seemed to have set. I mean, we talked to the same people. I'm just calling back. I'm calling back the same people, and I just couldn't wrap my head around needing to lay a foundation. I didn't call in a totally different stranger. I called back the same person that the foundation was already laid for with. Officer Miller, the foundation was laid. Officer Favors, I mean, these are two that the prosecutor already called and laid the foundation for, and he's saying I needed to lay the foundation all over again. And then it turned into, I was just thinking in my head, like, this sounds like it turned into objections on about asked and answered type of objections. It's crazy. But I mean, I would have tried it if I was in better shape. Let's see, pig trader, fair and impartial, huh? What is your next move? I want to move out of this state. I want to get out of this state, and I'm trying to figure out how do I do it. I gotta ask before this weekend. I gotta get something submitted to the city court asking to leave the states. But I want to make a good case of it too. Ask just to move to the next state over. But really, I got friends and I got more family I could visit in Wisconsin. And really, the factor is, could I? Their biggest concern is making it back to hearings. There's no hearings on the schedule, as far as I understand. So, really, there's nothing else to be concerned about. That I have to stay here for. When hearings, there's no hearing scheduled because I don't even need to show up for July 18th to answer why I didn't pay the city $411 fine yet. And the answer is clearly that this is being a writ. This is a writ appeal, supervisory writs to the Third Circuit of Court. So everything, all punishment is on hold pretty much. My jail sentence is on hold. My fine is on hold. But still, the city needs to update on that. The city demands to have an update. They got an open book. I got an open case still, and it needs to be revisited and revisited until we can get a conclusion. I can't say until we get justice, because what they do is not justice. They're settling books more than they're settling justice at this city court. Travis, I have donated both on YouTube and PayPal. What do you consider the best way to donate? I don't know. It's looking like I should take money that has been donated to me and pay some into the GoFundMe myself. What should I pay? What should I pay into this GoFundMe? What's a fair price? Because I have been getting direct donations that seem directly related to this case. How much? How much should I pay in? I'd pretty much be like the biggest donor. I could be the biggest donor. Well, actually, the biggest donor is $1,000. So, should I match that? Should I be putting $1,000, $1,001, so I become the biggest donor on the GoFundMe? Just to bring it, because I mean, it's either I pay now or the lawyer bills or the lawyer demands it later. Either way, that's the agreement I signed. Is 15,000 plus expenses, and it's probably better to pay ahead of time rather than get the lawyer angry at me and demand the money later. It's better to pay beforehand and have a good relationship rather than him get angry at me and pay later. But so because if it's gonna fall short, then I should anticipate that. If it's gonna fall short of the goal, I should anticipate that and have to put money in myself. But if it goes over the amount, then I mean, and that's not likely. Then I'll need to. Then it would have been a wasted donation on my part, if it went over. But that's not likely. It's probably better that I pay a certain amount in, because it's likely just to get it up to that goal. It's all a revenue gain. That's not fun at all. Yeah, it's like other states have more sense. They realize that they don't need to be fighting so much because of the cost. But for some reason, Louisiana seems to have a benefit from suppressing people's rights. There's a benefit. There's the coffers are filled by violating people's rights in Louisiana. They've got a system set up. I blame Crime Stoppers. You call in any suspicious activity, you get $1,000. Where's that money coming from? That's not real. That's not a legitimate way to make money. But they're doing it. They're doing it from the Crime Stoppers all the way to the judges. Travis, why are you talking about committing crimes in video, attempting to bring any kind of contraband into a correctional facility? Yeah, you could smuggle things in your shoes, because I'm telling you, they don't really search your shoes that closely, and you can bring your own shoes in. I'm just making an observation. I'm not saying I did it. I'm saying I think you can do it based on my observations. Let's see, you got to have money to live on. Alien Prepper says, "Hey Travis, it's good to see another wrench. Hey, you know what I should be doing? What am I thinking here? Oh, I can't even see my cursor anymore. I'm gonna, but here. Oh, come on. All right, there's my cursor. What? Okay, this. Okay, I just need a second here. I gotta make a little tweak. Not there. I gotta make a tweak on something here. Something just dawned on me. I did not realize. We'll see. Okay, just need some processing time. Okay, I want that. Play all. Alright, and once I get the chat, I am going to find a name. There it is. Okay, here we go. Okay, alright, done. Alright, so where was I? I was talking about life in the jail, day number 1. Let's see, Travis, can you set up a fund to pay for your gas? I don't need to really set up a fund to pay for my gas. It is getting expensive though. What is it, $4.30 a gallon? You'll pay money more in the end. I'd save it until needed. That's just me. Yeah. How long can we keep this GoFundMe till the last minute? How much time does a GoFundMe stay actively uh, receiving? How much time does the GoFundMe actively receive money until it closes? Until it reaches its goal? I'm not, because some surpass the goal sometimes. Then it's more of a timed issue, like 30 days. Thank you, Chevy, once again. In foreign countries, tourists are bogusly charged with false crimes. The attorney is also in the racket to juice the foreigner of their money. I think Alexander's not in the U.S. Report the crime at the library. Well, I can't step foot on any of the library property for life. Imagine that. I have to come back as another being so I can visit the library again. I have to, for all these lifetime bans, I have to start believing in reincarnation so that I can come back and then once again visit these places in another, as another being. 83rd like button. Share, subscribe. Thank you for helping Travis. To Sawmiller. What's the difference between a lawyer and a rooster? The rooster clucks defiantly. Stay camouflaged from Popo and plead the fifth. Well, I'm more scared of the cops in the city of Natchitoches. But I mean, if they can enforce these stranger laws, then anywhere is scary to go in Louisiana. They could arrest you over a stranger law. Hey, you look like a stranger. Give me your ID. There doesn't even need to be a crime. The suspicion is that you look like a stranger. You could just, that's the suspicion. You suspiciously look like a stranger. I paid $6.22 a gallon in California. It physically hurt to fill my van. Yeah, that's a lot of money. Jeez. How do you gotta make more money, or what's the where's this path take us? The library ban needs to be lifted. Yeah, there's got to be a way to challenge their decision. I have never challenged the decisions of the previous libraries. Coquille, Oregon, Williston, North Dakota, maybe another one or two. Chevy contacted me at Gmail. You ask good questions, I have good details. Yeah, tell them to subscribe. Very true. It's going to rain, Travis. Yes. It's going to be a warm rain. Just pray you don't come back as a knitter, shriveled old spinster spoon like the librarian is. I need some lights here. Let me... These rain clouds are... How's that for lights? These rain clouds are darkening up the room too much. And I still gotta read. Let me jump on this. Okay, we got this shoelace, the shoestring kid who tried to hang himself. Then somebody came in who knew him, who was a part of the crime actually. So 1% of what fine? I got a new fine coming up. Oh, 411. Oh yeah, that's 1%. What am I thinking? Yeah, it's $411 on 411. And it looks like it was coordinated with the date, but I guess if you look at the schedule for fines, the city court normally charges 411 in general anyway. It's just the timing of it, I guess, is just strange. Yeah, when is my next court date? Can somebody ask Phil for me? Let's see. Benjamin Cloyd has a cousin in jail. Benjamin Cloyd Benjamin is throwing his own family in jail, is helping. And I met a cousin there, some short guy who acted tough. He's a year older than me. And he asked for help from me, and I helped him with lawyer stuff a little bit, contacting a lawyer on the kiosk. He showed me his paperwork. It was something about him falling asleep in a stolen car and then waking up to the cops searching it. So he was charged, and he he was in the. There was another piece of paper. He's a short guy. He's a small guy, small voice, small stature, muscular, but very small. Related to Cloyd, but didn't look anything like Cloyd. But he still said they're related by blood. But there was this little piece. There's this piece of paperwork where he let me read it. It said that he was being bullied in another cell. He had to leave another cell, and it sounded like he left a blanket behind too. Like he was in that much of a rush to leave that cell. He was getting bullied by somebody in another cell, and so he came to the L2 dorm. That's too bad. That's too bad to read. 20. So on April 17th, that was on April 13th. I met him. April 17th, there were 21 people. You have all those details about the trial you're asking. There's 21 people, 24 total beds. It felt like a nightclub. It was loud. They were playing cards. The TV was loud. A lot of shouting, jumping around, moving all over the place. It was just like it seemed like such a nightclub. Like these people get so used to the jail that it's just turned into a club. They know what to do. They figure out the things they like to do in jail, and then they just capitalize on that. The joy that they can find in jail. Free food coming in. I mean, it doesn't get any better, right? So I felt like a nightclub. Then later, 10 of those people were moved at about, I don't know, 11 or 12 at night. And then things got quiet. It was pretty much all the nightclub people. The people are very active. And I later run into them in the 40-man dorm, and they were just as loud and boisterous as they were in the 24-man dorm. And they do that. On the 17th, they just moved 10 people out. Out of 21 people, they moved 10 out, and then slowly trickling more people. Let's see, hard to find TV. I've got to go up in court against the police in Scotland. 5 cops against me. They are all saying I threatened to kill them, and they deleted all the footage on the CCTV, so I either admit to the lies. That's why you got to record yourself. Take it to trial. You got to wear a body cam. I don't have mine on me. And you got to carry a camera. Let's see. On the 18th, I had an issue with a remote control where it was snatched out of my hands. I was scratched, and I told him that was assault. And then, when I told him it was assault, he threatened me with more violence. So I said, that's assault and threats. So now I think of a guy as Art, because he assaulted me, he robbed me of the remote, and then he threatened me. Art, A-R-T. And then later, there's a muscular guy, we won't talk about race, he started throwing a tantrum saying that some cookies were stolen off of his bed, and yelling about it, really getting worked up, pulling his shirt off, wrapping his knuckles in some cloth, and then walks over to me and asks me if I touched his bed. And it sounded like we were going to have a fight, but I denied it. I'm like, I didn't touch any of the beds in that row. And he just kind of walked away. I thought I was going to be fighting in jail, but this is a temporary dorm, and everybody seems to be more motivated to get out of jail than to already be settled in with their 20-year sentence and pretty much accepting that they're going to die in jail. Let's see. Throwing a tantrum, threatened to send people out he threatened to send people out the door. I'll take anyone out the door. He taped his knuckles, walked to me if I took his chips. Was it chips or cake or cookie? I never felt like I needed more help from somebody than at that moment. And there, I like sleeping on top bunks. Most people don't. But there's white guys. I was sleeping in a corner where it was like white guys, and then the black guys were on the other ends. There's a racial thing there. I guess I can't go into on YouTube. Let's see. Bubba told me to stay back in the corner. Yeah, on 420, I was told to stay back in the corner, and I called him Bubba because we were getting a little too close. He wanted to start just he wanted to call me friend. What food did you eat in jail? Yeah, it was how much can you handle how much can you handle 6 cookies and 3 slices of bologna every lunch? How many lunches can you handle 6 cookies and 3 slices of bologna? I mean, there's been other bad meals, but I think that's the lowest point in a meal. 6 cookies and 3 slices of bologna with white bread. Yeah, hiding a voice recorder in your shoes. Uh, there's probably small enough voice recorders that you could get away with doing that. Yeah, there you go. Hard to find. That's my rationalization. I can breathe on a top bunk, but most people don't care about breathing so much, and it's stuffy in jail. So, I was a little disturbed about Bubba telling me to stay in the back corner. But then later, a little fight erupted around the door. We were in the back, and like somebody banged on the window, and he's asking for a specific person. He was like, "Not you, you." And um, the guy the dude that banged on the window before got upset and told him to stop banging on the window, which there was barely any banging on the window, but even so, he was the window banger was told to stop, and it sounded like he protested. So then he was put into the isolation cell. He was taken out of our cell, and yeah, then put into the isolation. I think the isolation cell. Just out of spite, out of the guards' spite. Every so often the guards have this spiteful nature about them. They get extra serious about something. Like, I was pacing back and forth, and the guard told me, "It's okay if you're, it's okay," and they knew who I was. And that's their job. "Travis, it's okay if you exercise, but just don't touch the door." And it was some fat lady, and I told her my fingerprints are not on the door. All right. And then she walks away and comes back, and she says, "Stop touching that door." Because she went on to she watched me on the camera as I was pacing back and forth, looking to see if I was touching the door. Because that's a big concern. A door to freedom. There was a little protest. The guards didn't use the spray. They threatened to use that spray can, but didn't. Yeah, we watch a lot of black TV shows, movies, anything black related. Even if it's a rerun, don't matter how old it is, as long as there's black actors. That's a lot of the TV I watched. But that was in the temporary dorm. It wasn't so much in the 40-man dorm. The 40-man dorm seemed a little more balanced with news and sports. It was just all black TV shows in the temporary dorm, but and controlled by particular people. Let's see, a bit more would choose. The inmates would even watch the same show over and over again, as long as it's black. The TV volume is usually higher than I care for. Generally, the volume goes up through the day. The volume on TV starts out low in the morning, and then then they blast it to 100% by the evening time. Every day. It's tough on the ears, tough on the nerves. Let's see. Um, they get on 421. They got so many people in here that a guy is sleeping on a picnic table. I mean, I meant to say more one of the tables in the center of the room. It's like a picnic table, but they fill the dorm so much that a guy had to sleep on the table instead of have a bed. At breakfast, the guy slapped his grits and asked, "What is this poop?" He flipped out. Yeah, this guy he flipped out on me about stealing cookies from his bed, and I've watched several of his flippings, and it's disturbing. He's a muscular guy who flips out. That's not very assuring. But he was slapping his grits, like the grits were overcooked and dehydrated. I mean, when you slap a cooked cereal like oats, you'd expect it to stick to your hands, or your fingers should sink into the oats with a little, because the oats should have a little moisture. But the grits were so dry and overcooked that you could slap them and nothing would be on his hands. It was just a solid mass of grit. People smoke garbage smelling sticks every other day using batteries from the remote control. And I watched them do it. It's interesting. It's tricky. Uh, Pig Trader censored somebody, and then don't apologize about censoring people. Just don't do it. You gotta let you gotta let a guilty person go, so you don't arrest an innocent person. We can't have over censoring on this channel. All right, on 422, about 2 a.m., people had a very loud discussion about making money. At 2 a.m., suddenly this conversation erupted about making money. And these guys love talking about selling drugs. And it sounded like they're from New Orleans. They just loved about talking about hustling and making that money and showing it off and buying nice things. It's just a real popular way of talking. They don't care about talking about their court case so much and about how to defend themselves in court. They want to talk about making money. You got to get out there and hustle and make money. That's the only way to live. Get as rich as you can. Received burgers and fries on Sunday. Who delivered burgers and fries to me? 3:30 p.m. I received burgers and fries on April 24th. Not sure who ordered. Didn't say. I received them. And a lot of inmates came to me. I gave away my cookies. I gave away ketchups. And then other inmates came to me and wanted some of my fries. I'm like, here, take 3 or 4. So they took 5 or 6. I still had enough to be satisfied, but I didn't really care for that attention, and I was especially scared to receive a burger and fries in the 40-man dorm. But now that I look back on it, it probably wouldn't have been that bad. It was worse in the smaller 24-man dorm with that kind of it depends on who's given the attention, and it seems like the 40-man dorm they don't care as much. It's really easy time in Scotland. I've been in 9 jails. All right, yeah. I bet Scotland jails are better than in Louisiana. I bet Mexican jails are better than Louisiana. There's an argument. Oh, all right. Yeah, argument about on 425. There's arguments about clothes. Bubba, we'll call him Bubba. I got real close friendship with him. But I told him it's only inmate friendship. There's different levels of friendship. But he wouldn't buy that. He said we're friends. He started an argument about clothes on how they should have been his clean clothes, because they wash whites every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and oranges every Tuesday and Thursday. He had some clothes that got washed, and normally they're supposed to stay on the table, but the dorm was totally packed, 24 beds, 24 people. and there was a supper time, so the clothes got put somewhere else. This guy just got angry. He didn't like just ask me if I saw any clothes. He just started yelling at everybody. He said something about the clothes, and then um, it was at midnight. People were sleeping. People got woken up by his outburst, and so people got upset and started threatening him, and he threatened them right back. They started taking off their shirts and like putting their fists up, ready to fight. But then the guards started flashing the lights, and then the guards came in and asked what the problem was, and then about 10 minutes later, Bubba was taken out of the jail cell along with two other people, and the guards said it was just a standard move in preparation for more people. So he was gone, and that's the thing. That's you don't get too closely attached to other inmates because we all get moved around so much. I could spend like 3 or 4 days with somebody, and then suddenly they get a 2-minute warning that they got to move. So it's amazing um, how that works. And I was actually out of the 3 people that were moved, I was friendly with 2 of them. And then after Bubba was taken out of the jail cell, Lou Dog started talking about how I probably helped this guy steal the cookies off of the muscular guy's bed, and casting bad light on me. But he says a lot. Uh, he instigates a lot, and it was troubling to hear. And I think a lot of people would have spoken up and said, "Lou Dog, you're wrong. I didn't take any cookies. You're a liar." I stayed quiet. I'm just like, let's see what happens here. I like to sit back and listen to what can develop. I believed that anybody who listened to Lou Dog would not have bought that, because the muscular guy who thought I stole his cookies a few days earlier didn't really seem like he was totally convinced that I was the thief. I mean, I pace back and forth, so I'm always walking by his bed. So, and I'm about the only person that really was passing by his bed a lot of times. So, but I don't think he believed it. And Lou Dog was questioning that after Bubba was removed from the jail cell, because I no longer had like Bubba was kind of my support. He was there to protect me if there was like a racial tension, if there was a fight in some way that would have developed. There were moments where I was sleeping with one eye open, napping with one eye open. Let's see, Pig Trader went to jail for a day, and see, I bet San Diego jails are pretty nice. Trespass, didn't eat for 48 hours. That worked out well. Travis, how was your toilet privacy? There's no toilet privacy in jail. That doesn't exist. But it falls on people's showing you some respect and just not staring at you. But even regardless, even though if people don't stare, it's like I still am nervous. The food is constipating, and then the nervousness of pooping in front of other people made it so I only went once a week. You can get outside food ordered into you. That was nice. Yeah, it was outside food delivered in. Some other inmates said that I got outside food. They said that no inmates can order this food inside. They said it only comes from outside. I thought that was interesting. And I was told that someone else said that it's not too expensive either, like $7 for a burger and fries, but you just can't order it from the inside. Scottish prisons are strict. like they got lockdown for everybody. There's really no good lockdown cells at this Natchitoches detention center. They could do lockdown in Williston, North Dakota. Everybody has their own cell. I was stuck in a small cell for only 2 people, but it was just me. 24 hours, 23 and a half hours a day over this COVID thing. They could do that because that's the setup in Williston, North Dakota, where they practice more privacy, they have better privacy standards. But that's not the case in Natchitoches. They're in the jail there. They take away more privacy. You lose more privacy because they just put beds stacked on top of each other, inches away from each other. You're inches away from sleeping from the next person over in a 40-man dorm. It's pretty cramped. I can't take 5 steps. I couldn't take 5 steps without running into somebody. And I'd be there right now if I served this full sentence from the city court. It's a horrible experience. I would stand. I couldn't walk 5 steps without running into somebody, so I'd stand and just kind of march in place. It's the best I could do. Yeah, courtesy flushes are a big thing. Somebody could flush 10 times on a sitting, and some of those guys, I'm surprised how they could sit 20, 30 minutes on the toilets. Who sits? I mean, I know there's people that do that. They'll spend a half hour on the toilet. They may not be their bowels may not be very active, but they'll just sit there. I don't like doing that, but a lot of people do that, and you see that in jail too. So I was getting some shade cast on me that concerned me, but I didn't speak out because it was Lou Dog, Louisiana, but he calls himself Lou, short for Louisiana. Let's see. Hard says we used to have potties that you had to slop out. Oh my God. I was thinking that there in the old days they had buckets in the jail cell. Buckets and a spoon or something. That's not quite the state of Louisiana jails yet. They have plumbing. Yeah, Lou Dog called me Bigfoot, complained about my noisy shoes, saying that I wasn't being quiet enough when everybody's sleeping because my shoes were squeaking so much. Yeah, there was one day on 4/26 for lunch we had 6 cookies and 3 bologna slices. Man, I don't eat cookies. I was eating cookies the first couple of days, but then I just stopped. That was my hunger strike, kind of like what Pig Trader said. Yeah, it was my hunger strike. My hunger strike is not to eat a lot of junk food, so I would avoid that. Just try to eat the as healthy as I could do. Yeah, Lou Dog is like Corn Pop. Yeah, I guess he's in jail for a gun charge, but the cops never could find the gun. He's still in there on a $500,000 bond, so he can't afford that bond. So he's just been in there 2 years, unable to afford a bond, with no charge. And he says in all he spent over 20 years in jail. And I mean, if he spent 2 years without a charge already with this, I mean, those other years he spent probably are similar. I was moved out of L2 on 4/28 and into D8 from 24 beds to 40 beds. They have 2 kiosks instead of 1 kiosk, 3 phones instead of 2 phones. Fully packed dorm. I asked an inmate what's the lowest population he's seen this dorm. I asked an inmate in this 40-man dorm who has been in there 2 years, when have you seen the dorm at its lowest number? And he said, right before I moved in. I was the only white guy. I can clearly say that. He said it to me. But he was kind of maybe half white. The first guy that approached me to talk, at the 40-man dorm. He pointed out that I was the only white guy, and I looked around, and yep, sure was. Um, and this is a move that, like, there from the guard came into the 24-man dorm and asked anybody if they wanted to move. It was just kind of a random, who wants to move to the bigger dorm type of thing. And Lou Dog, the old timer, spent a lot of time in jail, was not acting enthused about moving to this bigger dorm. So I was feeding off of his demeanor, his and not I was not volunteering to go myself, because if he wasn't enthused about going, I definitely wasn't. He wasn't explaining what the problem was exactly, but there were some volunteers that said, I'll go, whatever. Some people just maybe got bored of this 24-man dorm, but I didn't volunteer and was eventually volunteered to go, and I definitely did not like. I thought the 24-man dorm was bad, and the 40-man dorm was even worse. I didn't know it could get worse, just because of the noise, the activity, the crampedness. There's 40 people in this. I don't know. I should have measured the size of this room. I mean, it's bigger than this room, of course. Maybe 100 feet by 100 feet. They stack 40 people in. Like, they toss cells and steal your stuff just to escalate your misery and get a reaction. Yeah, let me just say that when I was moving out, I didn't have a washcloth, and I forgot the washcloth in L2. And they were going to use it against me. I don't know if they're going to charge me money or what, but yeah, they were giving me a hard time about not turning in a washcloth. And I let them know that I went to the computer, that kiosk, and on the day that I was moved from L2 to D8, I put a message in saying that I forgot to get my washcloth, my towel. I forgot to get that. And I got no response. And that was a few days, 4 or 5 days. And as they were giving me a hard time about not having the washcloth, I finally realized, hey, I gave you guys, you guards got a message from me. I said that I forgot my washcloth, and can you bring it? And so they thought they were gonna use this washcloth thing against me, and then I turn around and say, hey, I left you guys a message. It was on you to respond to me about this washcloth issue, and you didn't. And so they had to drop the issue. I don't know what they intended to do. I never asked. What if I didn't leave a message? Would they have charged me $1 for the washcloth? But they were kind of giving me a hard time until I said that I made note of not having this washcloth that was left in the L2 dorm. Let's see. Moved to L2 on 428 and 429. I noticed that guards will flicker lights or flash a strobe light into the room to get the people to calm down or lay down, at least lay down. I'm sharing a cell with murderers and thieves. Yeah, guards don't know a lot, but they know enough how to be cruel. But also that there's an Eighth Amendment. They recognize that there's limits to their cruelty, so they maybe try to be creative in a lot of ways. One guard told an inmate, "F your mother." They'll dig deep into insults with people. Sometimes I think that's a little unprofessional. 30 more days for losing a washcloth. Oh man, that's what they do. They keep me in jail a little bit longer for as punishment. Maybe they would have like tried to write me up. I helped this Puerto Rican guy. He was shipped over from Puerto Rico to a Louisiana jail for shipping cocaine to the United States. He was caught because he was mailing cocaine to the United States. And what was that again? Guards are sickest. Um, yeah. He showed me a lot of his paperwork, and he was getting like reprimanded. He was losing phone privileges for 90 days at a time, and that happened at least 5 times. He was losing phone privileges at this other jail in Louisiana. He was brought up to the Natchitoches one later, and um, he barely spoke English. But we could communicate, but he didn't speak English great. And I think that was a large part of his problem was that he couldn't speak very good, and so there was misunderstandings with what the guards demanded of him to what he thought they demanded of him. Yeah, you don't look in the shower, all right? You don't because you do it out of one for respect, and two because that person taking a shower might not be quite showering. So there's a problem in the 40-man dorm with that. And oh, it's raining. Oh, great. I should probably check my windows. Let's see. Yeah, I'll probably stop. I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna check my car. I think it might be raining. Oh, I can't even see. Okay, so all right. Thanks for visiting.